Welcome to Therapy Cable. I'm Dr. Ehsan Garashidaki. This segment is about addiction in families. Thank you for watching. We always encourage you to watch our videos and post a comment or two so we know whether or not you like the video, and as well as how we can improve, and any other content that you would like to have a video produced by us. And so today what we want to focus on is the role of families in maintaining addiction, as well as, let's say, the reversal of that, which the title refers to, addiction in families, more or less, whether or not addiction is a family disease. This is a concept that has been talked about and thrown around a lot in terms of experts coming to explain addiction as a family disease. But many people may disagree with that, or not even understand what it means, and have a little bit of a first disinclination or resistance toward accepting and understanding even what it means, addiction in families, or addiction as a family disease. So today what we want to do is kind of open that up so everybody understands what it means. And a related concept to that is also thrown around is called codependency. And a lot of times people who are struggling with addiction, as well as their family members, they're encouraged to attend AA or NA or AlANON meetings. So AA, NA, as well as other version of it, like a CA or GA. These are abbreviations for anonymous meetings that take place in relation to one or another kind of addiction, whether it is gambling or narcotics or alcoholism, etc. And then a related group, which is supposed to be anonymous as well, usually it is, but is not for the addict, but mostly it takes place for the purpose of helping the family members of addicts. It's called AlANON, or Alcoholics Anonymous, family groups, if you will, or support groups. And there are also various versions of that for the other types of addiction. So there is an NA-ANON, if you will, and GA-ANON. So these are supplemental family support groups that are anonymous, take place to help people come in and learn about the process of addiction, the problems of addiction, and what family members can do in their interactions with their addicted family, and help themselves as well as the family members. So now we have actually talked about, in a live video session, we have talked about the concept of addiction as a family disease, and helped our audience understand how it can become a family issue and problem. But I would like to go over some main core concepts to bring this problem to light. If we understand addiction as what it is more or less literally a disorder of motivation and decision making of the brain. So that literally a person who is addicted is viewed and perceived as someone who makes very bad decisions for themselves and other people who are involved in their lives, regardless of the consequences, which are mainly done in order to keep up a certain dependence on an activity that keeps them somehow alive and interested in life, and keeps them going, keeps them take this life one day at a time and really not take their life. And it's quite dysfunctional, and it sounds, we even hear this, I'm talking about it, it sounds very grim and disappointing that a person would even get to the point where they have to depend on certain, let's say, substances such as alcohol, alcoholic drinks, or drugs, illicit or prescription drugs, narcotics, anxiolytics, antipsychotic even at times, and or processes such as gambling and sex addiction, in order to just feel alive, in order to get some kind of a pleasure from this world. It sounds very depressing by itself, and rightfully so, because literally, if you think about it, that is the extent of that faulty decision making of the brain, where the person has arrived that they are willing to give up thousands, if not millions, of other opportunities for gratification and pleasure and advancement and improvement and a full, rich living standard for just re-engaging in a very repetitive and mundane self-numbing strategy and just remain alive. And that's about it. It's a very depressing situation. And it's not surprising, because we know that people who are addicted to, again, substances or processes, literally at the core of their problem, or their psyche, they're either anxious and worried, and basically debilitatingly worried to the point that the anxieties that they have are breaking them down, and or quite depressed, clinically depressed, and to the point that at times very much they're suicidal. They don't even mind if they overdosed and died, and very self-sabotaging and self-defeating in their behaviors in life. So knowing that this is what an addict is really struggling with, what we want to understand is, what we want to do is link this problem and this phenomenon to both problems and solutions, or sources of problems. How did they arrive there, as well as how come that they cannot see the solutions around them that exist, and get themselves out of this rut. So in order to understand that, what we have to really go back to literally is the identity of a person. If a person doesn't identify themselves with this type of phenomenon and presentation and kind of characteristic that I just shared with you, they wouldn't get into this addiction in the first place, and there would be some means for them to get out of this rut one way or another, if they were able to identify themselves with better lifestyles, with better ways of dealing with life and living a fulfilling, enriched life. So the main both psychological as well as systemic concept that I want to bring up here is that it is a key to both the root causes as well as the solution, maintenance of problem as well as the solution, how to get out of this issue, is literally the identity of a person and the associated deficit in terms of purposefulness and meaningfulness of their lives. If you went around and did a study and surveyed addicts, you would find out ultimately that the common denominator between them is literally this lost identity, in terms of they have lost an identity to a healthy living, and they have gained an identity that is associated with unhealthy, dysfunctional lifestyle. And amidst this whole conundrum, they also have lost hope and meaning and purpose in life. And so the key to not only understanding this issue, but also helping a person would be for a professional as well as a caring family member to help a person really develop a new identity, or regain their old functional identity and rebuild from where they left off before they got addicted. and also regain a sense of purpose and meaningfulness in their lives. Well, if you followed me so far, what I would then suggest that is easy to make that leap of understanding or faith, or just that leap from this understanding to the next level, how families are involved, is simple, because if you think about it, an identity of a person literally is built over the years from birth to around some number or some age within the 20s of a person's life, at times even a little bit earlier. And there's a whole discussion where personality and identity is formed, but generally the full extent to a person's identity is believed to have been formed by latest about 25 years of age, because by that time, from multiple systemic perspectives, all components of a person's livelihood and living, they have fully formed, and they're highly and fully functional by that time. So hopefully in most situations, people do complete their identity development as well by that time, and are at the peak of their performance in life, knowing themselves, being committed and dedicated to a certain purpose or goal in their lives. They have things to look forward to on a daily basis. They have goals, objectives, they have certain commitments, and they're happy about those commitments and responsibilities. And that's what engages them, that's what motivates them to literally just continue life in a very meaningful and satisfactory way. So going back to that time frame of birth to 25, you can imagine that certainly it's just common sense to see the role of a family and the family members and their influence of the family environment on that development of their identity, because certainly every human being is born into a family, even if it is a dysfunctional family, if it is an incomplete family or a very small family, or maybe a like I said, like a single mother or single father family. The influence of family members from birth to early 20s of any one of us human beings who are born into a family, despite of the size or shape or form or quality of the family, are crucial and significant. There's literally factors that have defined the identity of the person, as well as a lack of identity of the person. There's the sources of information for a person to form the notion of meaningfulness and purposefulness, because it's more or less like a database, if you will, or a knowledge base, or a library of information that the brain of a person growing up in a family environment has gained over time, and it has been shaped by the very unique, specific contributors within that family that are leading to the content and the accumulation of that content of that library. So literally, when people who have lost their healthy identity and they have kind of gained and formed this unhealthy, addicted identity, would want to rebuild a sense of purposefulness and meaning, and a sense of like a renewed identity, they are internally automatically reaching into that library of information, values, norms, morals, and important, significant reasons for meaningfulness or purposefulness, or confidence or self-esteem, and that is the same library that has been either shaped and formed by their family members, as well as the same library that can literally help a person get out of the addicted rut that they are in, because of the bond and association and the closeness and the trust that they literally internally have established with the content and the people associated with that content of that library, meaning that a person is much more likely to regain a sense of purposefulness and meaningfulness and identity that is healthy with the help of their family members who have been a part and parcel of their memories growing up, rather than with the help of strangers. Now, this is how we can understand and see that damage and injury in the relationships between family members literally keep people at bay and separate from one another, and also separate from the healing source that the family members actually encompass. So this was a very brief understanding of why actually family and family members and family systems are crucial, both in the generation, in the causation, as well as maintenance and finding a solution to addiction. What we will do is produce more videos and publish more videos on the very specific details of these stages that I just mentioned, the causation, the maintenance, and the solution, as well as different roles that family members can fulfill within these different stages. Please stay tuned. Again, we would like to encourage you to post comments and let us know what else you would like to know. If you have specific questions regarding addiction in families, as well as the roles of families in these stages of addiction, we would love to produce some videos for you and answer your questions. Feel free to let us know by posting a comment. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.